Right, so for those of you who don't know me, my name's Sarah Rudder. I run a bespoke learning and development agency called Ginger Dog Development, and I am resident company coach here at Rocket Mill. Today, I thought we would spend a few minutes looking at the science of persuasion. So you guys are in the business of influencing, essentially, and I thought I would share with you the work of Robert Cialdini. Has anybody come across his work before? Yeah, a few of you? Fantastic, but maybe just 3 or 4 of you. Okay, no worries. So a little bit of a refresher for you, but for the rest of you it might be something that's new. So he has 6 principles of influence, six reasons that people say yes to the things that they're being asked to do. And I thought I'd share those with you and invite you to also share some ideas that you might have as we talk about them, about how you use these. So these are not just things that you could use with clients, but also things that you might use with each other and maybe with your friends and family outside of work if you want to be more influential. Okay. So let's get started. The first one is reciprocity. And this is where Joe's going to come into his own. So the study, one of the studies that they did was around, you know when you go out for dinner and they bring you the bill, and quite often, I'm standing here with some of these, they bring you a mint with your bill. Does that make a difference to how much you tip? Let's give Joe an after 8. Would that make a difference to how much you would tip me if I was your waitress?
Yes, because it looks like an after 8.
It is. It's actually a real after 8. I went out and bought them especially. I will pass them round afterwards. So, study showed that actually he would now tip me probably 3% more than if I didn't give him a mint. 3%. Okay. What if I give him 2 mints? It's going well, right, Joe?
Yeah.
If I give him 2 mints, will my tip double, do you think?
No.
What do you reckon? No. Might go to 5%. Yeah. No, interestingly, it goes to 14% if I give you 2 mints. Now, if I give you 2 mints, I'm not going to give you another mint. I'm going to actually give these to Adam and get him to pass those around, rather than stand here for the next few minutes with them. If I give you 2 mints and I say, I'm giving you 2 mints because you've been such a nice customer, does the tip go up? Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm looking at a 23% increase on my tip. So, what do we know about reciprocity in terms of our lives? What we know is that if we do things for other people, if we give generously with our time and our favours, they are more likely, of course, to do things for us when we ask them. Get the after 8s in. So now you see I've bribed you all with an after 8. At the end of this session I'm going to ask you to do something. No, not really. Okay, that makes sense, right? None of this is rocket science, by the way. Yeah, it's all just, it's a bit of neuroscience, really. So if we're generous with our time, if we give people something, chances are they're likely to give it something back. So reciprocity. Second one, commitment and consistency. So you'd be more likely to support a colleague's proposal if you'd previously shown interest in it. We are more likely to commit and to be consistent in our actions if we have publicly said that we will do something. So anybody that's ever got involved with a marathon or a diet, you're more likely to stick with that and to stick with your training if you have publicly said you're going to do that. Yeah? Everybody's nodding. Yeah. Again, makes sense, right? Makes sense. So how does this help us? Let me tell you the study, actually. So one study that they looked at was where they got patients in health centres to actually write down on a card their own appointments rather than the receptionist writing it down for them. So if you get your patient to write down their own appointment, their commitment to turning up goes up by 18%. So 18% more people came to their doctor's appointments than previously. So you tell me, how does this impact, or what other examples can you think of where either other companies or you use this piece of science to influence?
Signing contracts.
Go on.
Signing contracts.
Yeah, go on, tell me a bit more about it.
Have you heard of a contract?
Yes. Oh, you see, second time here and the cheek's starting.
People are much more likely to follow through if they sign something rather than if it's just a verbal commitment.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you might get, who here gets, coming up towards Christmas, who will get a packet of Christmas cards sent to you by a charity of some kind, along with a request to donate? Yeah? So chances are it's a charity that you have donated to at some point in the past, and therefore they think that they're likely to get more commitment from you because you've already shown commitment in the past. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So consensus, we're more likely to do things that other people are doing, particularly if we're uncertain about what's the right thing to do. If we're told that other people are doing it, chances are we'll do it too. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I remember this being a particular tool that I used to use for influencing my parents when I was very small. That whole everybody else is doing it. It didn't work very well as a kid. My mum just wasn't influenced by that at all. But as grown-ups, we are more influenced by that. One of the studies that Cialdini talks about is with hotels. So if you stay in a hotel for longer than one night, chances are there'll be something in your room that suggests that you might like to reuse your towels. And usually they use the environmental message to encourage us to do that. Yeah, that's reasonably effective in influencing us to do that. But the study they did was where they changed that card, and the card said 75% of people who stay in this room reuse their towels. Yeah, towel reuse went up by 33%. So it's just all of these small things that can make a difference to how we influence people. How do you guys use this? With your clients, I suspect.
Social proof, so like reviews and testimonials and things.
Yeah, absolutely. Reviews, testimonials. Yeah, people trust you as an agency because they see who else you work for. Yeah, and if those people think you're good, then you must be good. Okay, TripAdvisor's another one. Yeah, we book places that other people recommend. Let's have a look at the next one. Number 4. Principle number 4, liking. Those of you who were here last month, we talked about unconscious bias, and we talked about the fact that actually we need to overcome our bias for people who are like us. This is the other side of the coin, and this tells us that actually people are likely to do things for us if they like us. Yeah, again, makes perfect sense, I think. So, but you'd be surprised how small the influence can be, or the things that you can do to influence can be. So in one study, they sent a load of surveys out, and in some of those surveys, they signed the request to fill out the survey with a name that sounded very similar to the name of the person they were sending it to. So if your name was Robert Ames, for instance, you might get a survey request from Bob James. Yeah? And what that meant was that they actually had a 50% increase in people returning surveys when they were requested by somebody that had a name that sounded like theirs. Yeah? Good stuff, eh? So what does this mean in terms of work? It means the bigger your network, the greater, stronger relationships that you have, the more influential you are, essentially. Again, this is not rocket science. We probably already know this. Yeah. In one negotiation study, one group was asked to not mess around and get straight on with business. They were about 50% successful in coming to a conclusion in their business deal. The other group were asked to spend some time getting to know the other parties in the negotiation. They were 90% successful in their negotiation. And the contract was worth, in general, 18% more than for both parties than in the other group, where they didn't spend time getting to know each other. Number 5, authority. We do things for people that we believe are credible experts or have a position of authority. Yeah. I've never tested this out, but I was once told that if you put a high-vis jacket on, you can pretty much walk in anywhere. Yeah. Nobody will question you. Has anybody tried that out? No? Nobody's going to admit to it, though. Be fun, though, right? Put a high-vis jacket on, carry a clipboard, you can get away with anything. Go in anywhere. Yeah. So what does this mean? One study showed that estate agents could increase their business by telling customers about their credibility. So when the customer phoned up and asked to speak to somebody in sales, they were told, yeah, let me put you through to Adrian. He's got 15 years experience in this business. That little bit of extra credibility from the receptionist, so it doesn't even need to be you that's telling people how credible you are. Somebody else doing that is probably even more powerful. That small change led to 20% increase in appointments and a 15% increase in contracts that were signed. Yeah. So how do you tell your clients about your credibility? How do you tell your colleagues about your credibility and build your influence within the business? And the last one that we have is scarcity. So if something is rare and unique, we want it more. If we can't get it, we want it more. Yeah. Again, Christmas is coming. Around about Christmas time, there's always a frenzy, isn't there, for the latest toy that's sold out weeks ahead of time. Yeah. and people are buying it at vastly increased prices on at eBay. When British Airways announced in 2003 that they would no longer be flying Concorde, sales went through the roof the next day. Yeah. When Land Rover decided that they were no longer going to be manufacturing Defender, sales went up 20% straight away. Yeah? So if it's something that we think we're not going to be able to get hold of, we want it more. There are lots of organisations using this now. So Booking.com, for instance, if you've ever gone on to look at rooms, yeah, it tells you how many people are looking and how many rooms are left, and it creates this kind of anxiety about whether you're going to be able to get it. Yeah. Same with eBay. You know, the time's ticking down, and it tells you how many other people are watching. Yeah. So how do we create that? This is a rhetorical question. How do we create that excitement and slight anxiety about what we do? Yeah. How do we create that sense of urgency? How do we make our proposition unique? How do we highlight what could be lost if it's not considered? So that is it, my friends, in a nutshell. 6 principles of persuasion based on Robert Cialdini's work. You have reciprocity, commitment, consensus, liking, authority, and scarcity. And chances are you'll be using some of those already without even labelling them, yeah, without even noticing them. So I guess my challenge to you is, how do you become more conscious about how you're influencing and what you're doing to become more influential in your roles and with your colleagues here?